friends. Welcome to our Midweek Moment. Pastor Nicole here. So glad you joined in. Well, this week we continued on in our parable series, Storyteller, where we are looking at the parables of Jesus, and we looked at the parable of what lies beneath, which is really the story of the wise and the foolish builder, where Jesus tells us that if we hear his words and put them into practice, we are like a wise builder who digs down deep into the earth and puts the foundation of his home on the bedrock. He then goes on to say that those who hear his words and don't put them into practice are like a foolish builder who just build their house on the ground with no foundation. And when a storm comes, we know how it goes, right? The foolish builder's house gets swept away in the rising floodwaters, and the wise builder's house stands firm. I've been thinking a lot about that. We talked about it on Sunday, what we can do to firm our foundation, to make sure that we have a foundation built on Jesus, so that when those storms in life come, we have that firm foundation to rely on, not only our relationship with God, but our relationship of being in community with others. It's so important when it comes to life storms, because storms happen for everybody. And as a pastor, I kind of get a unique view of people going through storms. Because of the privilege of this position that I hold, a lot of people come and share when they are going through difficult times. And I have the privilege, the honor of walking with people through difficult times. And one thing that I have noticed in my time in ministry is that people who have a firm foundation weather the storm better than people who don't. And I think that is, not surprising. Jesus tells us that that's how it's going to go. But as I see people who have a deep faith as they're going through a health scare or going through a relationship dissolving or something like that, those who can cling to their faith, who can cling to the community of people around them, their faith family, weather the storm better. I'm not saying that it's, just going to erase it and make it all easy, but they have that firm foundation and they're still weathering the storm. They still have to go through it. And sometimes, it doesn't end up the way that they want, but they have that solid foundation in Jesus. I remember talking to a nurse one time about how pastors can come and visit people in the hospital, and how it's kind of surprising to me that hospitals will still allow pastors to kind of come and, because there are places in the hospital that, unless you are like immediate family, you can't get through. And even sometimes then you can't, but pastors almost always can get through those kind of boundaries that are put into place. And so this nurse was telling me that the reason that they allow that is because they have seen evidence of people with faith who have a connection to a church, who have a pastor that come and pray with them, who help the individual, process, and who just people of faith in general heal better than people who don't have that kind of support. And I have often wondered, how do people get through difficult times without, a firm foundation on Jesus, or without a faith community to be with them through it? Because some of the storms that we weather in life are so, so difficult. But I thought it was so interesting that this nurse was saying we've seen evidence that people of faith, and not just Christians, but people of all faiths, do better when they have spiritual support. And so that's why a lot of hospitals still have chaplain roles, and they allow pastors to kind of come in at any time to see their parishioner and to pray with them. It's surprising, but maybe not so surprising when we really think about it. Having that firm foundation in Jesus helps us to ground ourselves in the love of God It reminds us that we are not going through life alone, that we have God by our side, that God is with us in the muck and in the mire, in the rising floodwaters. We're not alone. No matter what we're going through in life, we're not alone. God is with us. That was the whole point of our VBS last week, was we were telling the kids, wherever you are on the road trip of life, God is with us. When we're joyful, when we're lonely, when things go off course in our lives, God is with us. What a timely message, not just for kids to learn that, adults need to remember that and cling to that as well. So, all that to say, I hope that you are taking some time this week to do a couple of things that are going to help firm your foundation, help you to grow in your faith, help you to dig deep into the ground and put your firm foundation on Jesus. I'm going to take that challenge myself. I'm actually meeting with my spiritual director this afternoon. I know she's going to have some challenging questions for me and some encouragement for me to help me in my foundation, to firm my foundation as well. So do something for yourself this week to be a little bit more like that wise builder, to firm up that foundation. And when that storm comes, whenever it comes, you'll be a little more ready to weather it. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your week. This weekend, we're going to wrap up our series on parables with a story about buried treasure. So make sure you come and take part in that, whether in person or online. We would love to see you. And take care. Bye.